folks, this is vk3sl. Welcome to another Test Missions. And back again. Wasn't expected, actually. Wasn't sure if I was going to be around at all this weekend, but it's worked out really well. I'm here tonight, but won't be here tomorrow or Sunday. So just missions tonight, and then maybe next weekend. Who can knows? It's all a bit of a gamble during school holes, but that's the name of the game. So, we're sharpening up a few gramophone needles and we'll just indulge in some nostalgia.
Sounds very good.
Yay, how are you, Frank?
I'm okay. I'm a bit weary, I must say.
Sure.
I haven't had much sleep in the last few nights.
Yeah, look, I fully appreciate that fact. I mean, gosh, you've had all the toothache and horrible things.
It's all fixed, though. Well, it needs more attention, but the immediate pain is gone.
Yes, but still.
Tonight's the night to get it all back.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's see if the
already
music...
had a couple of sleeps, but I still need more.
Okay, it's fair enough. Well, the music might soothe things. Good for toothache.
It soothes me too much.
It might actually create other problems.
Good.
But yes, anyhow, we'll
We'll be fine.
We'll indulge in nostalgia, see where it takes us. So, yeah.
vk3jr in contact. Test transmission with vk3sl.
Indeed, that's the case. And we're transmitting on 1865 kilohertz and also 438.725 megahertz.
And JR is on 145.04 FM.
That's correct. And that's the input. And what else? What can I tell people? Oh, yes, there's a streaming service. And that seems to be up and running. I think both are actually at the moment. I've had the secondary one. I saw that out last week and it seems to be sort of hanging in there, with a constant tirade of 20s hits on one channel and our weekly missions on the other. So that's all. I think it's all referred to on the blog page, but I'm not 100% certain it's working. I haven't tested it from an external IP, but we usually have two streaming services where possible, the main one being the YouTube service, which is under my call sign, so people can look up VK3SL on YouTube, and there is an archive of a whole stack of past programs, and also the current program streaming live. Yeah, well, I don't know, Frank. I've just picked out a batch of 12-inch 78s. And the first one is Jack Hilton and his orchestra and Melodious Memories. So this was a series. He made a couple of these, Melodious Memories 1 and 2 and various things. They were made, he had a more Melodious Memories as well. And these were released in, I think, 1928. And so he just plays a whole lot of poppy songs from the day, and it's got a bit of a dance band vibe to it, but it's quite sort of, conservative really, but it's fun. It's nice to hear, and Jack Hilton's band was an outstanding ensemble at that time. They really had some excellent musicians, very British, but we'll hear both sides of the 12-inch record, and that gives us a chance to sort of get sorted, I suppose, and we'll go with this. So, Melodious Memories, and it's arranged by a guy called Fink, and yes, we're hearing Jack Hilton and his orchestra. I think I'm sharpened, ready to go. Try again. did that well.
Well, didn't they cover a lot of territory
They
there?
certainly did a bit of everything there with Jack Hilton.
That'd be a great record for a trivia night. You could,
Yeah, what a good point.
see how many people could get.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's an interesting one. That was the music. It was Herman Fink's arrangement. He put all that together, compiled it all, and it was recorded, it says here, on the 30th of August and the 3rd of September 1928 in the small Queen's Hall. So that's an interesting anecdote in itself, because the Queen's Hall was sort of the premier venue for concerts in the early days before the war, and tragically it was bombed in 1941. But the Queen's Hall was where all the proms were, and Henry Wood had a residency there, and I think the BBC Orchestra were also there, the London Phil as well. And they, it was sort of a major venue in London, and tragically it was bombed in 1941. And no one died in the bombing, but the building was one incendiary bomb went through the roof and destroyed all the instruments, sadly.
Tragedy.
Yeah, that was a really sad fact, because had been a concert that night, and they were rehearsing the next morning.
So they left them there.
So a lot of instruments were lost in that fire.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyhow, that was where this was recorded. But,
I think Jack Hilton might have been married to a comedic actress called Cicely Courtnidge.
Oh, I think you might be right. That rings a bell. I can make that connection. I've heard that mentioned. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
She did a very funny double-sided record called, one side was Laughing Gas and the other side was called Dinner Napkins.
Oh, really? Fantastic. I love it. Cicely Courtnidge.
Cicely Courtnidge, yeah.
Cicely, I'm going to see if I can find it. Cicely.
You spell it unusually, I can't remember.
Cicely Courtnidge.
Courtnidge.
Yeah, spelled correct usually saves the day for me.
Yeah, I think it'll do.
Yes. Here we go. There's a few here with her. Cicely Courtnidge. It's bound to be right on the knot. Double damask. I'll give her a ring. What else?
Double damask. Might be double damask.
Ah.
Might be what it's called.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, we can cue that up and have a listen.
See what you think. She's very clever.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear. Yes, probably a little bit more classy.
I think she was married to Jack.
Yeah, I think you're right too. I've definitely heard that somewhere, and yes, it'll certainly be a bit classier than Ruth Wallace.
Oh, I don't know.
Ever heard that?
We're very open.
We are absolutely
open to all influences.
It's a broad church, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Here we go. Cicely Courtnidge here, and double damask, and we'll see. Hopefully, that's what we're thinking.
Gone off yet?
Not knowing your order, madam, I really couldn't say.
But I was in here an hour ago and gave it to you.
What name, madam?
Spooner. Mrs. Spooner.
Have you an address?
Do I look as if I live in the open air? I gave a large order for sheets and tablecloths to be sent to Bacon Villa, Egham.
Egham?
I hope I speak plainly. Egham.
Oh, yes, I remember perfectly now, madam. Let me see now. No, your order won't go through until tomorrow morning. Is there anything further?
Yes, I want 2 Dazzle Dam and Damask dinner napkins.
I beg your pardon?
I said 2 Dazzle Damask dinner napkins.
I'm sorry, madam, I don't quite catch.
Dinner napkins, ma'am. Dinner napkins.
Of course, madam. Plain?
Not plain. Double damask.
Yes. Would you mind repeating your order, madam? I'm not quite sure.
I want 2 Dazzle Dam and Damask. I want 2 Dam and Damask. Oh, dear. Stupid of me. I want 2 dozen Damask dinner napkins.
Dinner napkins, madam?
Yes.
You mean dinner napkins?
That's what I said.
Oh, pardon me, madam. You said dinner napkins.
Don't be ridiculous. I said dinner napkins and I meant dinner napkins. And if a dan... You know, you're getting me muddled now.
I'm sorry, madam. You want dinner napkins, exactly. How many?
2 dozen.
Madam?
Oh, gracious young man. Can't you get it right? I want 2 dozen Damask dinner napkins.
No, madam, not 2 dozen. You mean 2 dozen.
I said 2 dozen, only there must be Dammel Dozik.
No, we haven't any of that in stock, madam.
Oh, dear, of all the fools. Can't I find anybody, just anybody with a modicum of intelligence in this store?
Well, here is our Mr. Peters, madam. Now, perhaps if you asked him, he might...
Can I be of any assistance to you, madam?
I'm sorry to say, but your assistant doesn't appear to speak English. I'm giving an order, but he might just as well be an Esperanto for all he understands.
Allow me to help you, madam. You require...
I require 2 dozen double Damask dinner napkins.
I beg pardon, madam.
Oh, heavens, can't you understand?
Would you mind repeating your order, madam?
I want 2 dozen.
2 dozen.
I said 2 dozen.
Oh, no, madam. No, you said 2 dozen. But I understand perfectly what you mean. You mean 2 dozen. In other words, a double dozen.
That's it. A dozen of double-damask dinner napkins.
Oh, no, pardon me, madam, pardon me. You mean a double dozen of double-damask dinner napkins.
Double damask, sir.
I said double damask. It's Stepaninkins you require, sir.
Please get it right. I want dinner napkins.
I beg pardon, madam. So stupid of me. One gets so confused.
Yes, this is not a laughing matter.
Of course. Dipper nankins, madam.
Stepaninkins, sir.
Dinner nipkin.
I understand exactly what madam wants. It is two... Oh, would you mind repeating your order, please, madam?
Oh, dear, I want 2 dozen damask dinner dumplings.
Allow me, madam, allow me. The lady requires 2 double damask dinner napkins.
Done napkin, sir?
Certainly, 2 dozen.
Not 2 dozen, I want 2 dozen.
Quite so, madam, quite so.
Oh,
if I may say so,
Daddy.
we're getting a little bit confused, splitting it up, as it were. Now, the full order is 2 dozen dibble dummers and nipper dumpkins.
Excuse me, sir. You mean 2 dimmick dizzy napkins?
I do not want dizzy napkins. I want 2 dizzle dam and damask.
No, 2 dizzle dammel dissick.
2 dummick.
2 damn dizzy diddle dimmer dipkins.
Madam, please, your language.
Oh, blast. Give me 24 serviettes.
Hello, old boy. What on earth are you doing here? Out on the razzle tonight, what?
No, this is no razzle. Billy, I've fallen in love. I've got it badly this time.
What, again?
Yes, I'm going to meet the most wonderful girl in the world.
What do you mean you're going to meet? Haven't you met her before?
No, not exactly.
Now, what the devil's the matter with you? Either you have met her or you haven't met her.
Well, I've spoken to her.
Oh, come on, out with it. I'll buy it.
Well, it was like this. I fell in love over the telephone. Just her voice. It went right through me, straight to my heart. It was then I knew she was the only girl in the world for me.
Well, who is she?
She's on the telephone exchange.
Why, what do you mean? One of the operators?
Yes, my telephone girl.
Oh, my grandmother. Well, good luck, old boy. I hope she comes up to expectations. I'll be at the club if you want me, see?
Want you? All I want's to get rid of you. Look out, here she is.
Well, good night, old boy.
Miss Primrose Hill, my angel.
Speaking. What name, please?
Why, it's me, Tom. I thought you were never coming. What's the time?
The time at exchange clock is 3 minutes past 8.
Darling, how marvelous you've come at last. I've longed for this all my life. When I first heard your voice, I knew that I was meant for you, and you were meant for me.
Pleasure receiver, please.
Dearest, wouldn't you like to take off your cloak? Ah, there's the waiter. Now then, darling, what would you like to drink? You choose.
Poverty 1915.
Primrose, I must tell you, I never knew anyone could be as beautiful as you. You don't know what it meant to me when I first heard your voice. It was like a soft bell in my ear, a voice from heaven.
A long-distance call?
You angel. Where's the waiter? Will you ring the bell, darling? How hungry you must be. Why doesn't he come?
I'll ring them again.
Ah, here's the waiter with the champagne. Show Madam the wine, please.
Wrong number.
Pardon, miss, but you said...
Poverty 1915.
But, miss, this is the 1915 brand.
Sorry, you've been trouble.
All right, pour out the wine. Good heavens, you aren't careless. You spilt it all over my... You can go now, waiter.
Oui, monsieur.
Darling, how beautiful you are.
Speak up, please.
Darling, I said how beautiful you are. Such a child. Well, you can't be more than 16.
Number's been changed. Please make a note of it.
Well, you can't be more than 25.
Quite correct.
Primrose, I love you. I want to marry you. I want you to be my wife. Kiss me, kiss me.
There's no such exchange.
Darling, give me a few moments to explain. You can't treat me like this. I don't care for anything anymore. You must marry me or I'll kill myself.
Your time is up. Will you have another 3 minutes?
Oh, say you love me, then nothing matters. Heavens, I shall go mad. I want to take you in my arms. I want you, I want you, I want you. Primrose, I believe you do love me a little. Kiss me again.
Hold on.
Oh, I love you so much, and we'll be so happy, Primrose.
You're through. 2 pennies, please.
Darling. Oh, listen, darling. I'm afraid there's one thing I must tell you. I haven't got a penny in the world.
You've been cut off.
But dearest, what's it matter as long as we love each other?
Sorry, the connection has broken down.
Primrose,
There's no reply.
you can't leave me like this.
You'll be charged for the call.
Ah, so that's it, is it? Money. Money, money, money. Women, how I hate them. Turn a fella down just because he hasn't got the cash. I'll tell you what you are. You're nothing better than a common little...
Oh, I shall report you to the supervisor.
That's fantastic. We just heard Cicely Courtnidge, and I think that was it was Ivan McLaren. I think is the sidekick there.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, fantastic.
I haven't heard that side before.
Yeah, I think the song's put up both sides. I'm just reading about her, and actually it was Jacques Hubert who she was married to.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's good. I'm pleased. This is a marvellous tangent because it's got me excited. I've got lots of Jacques Hubert's records somewhere on a shelf, somewhere in this room, and I will dig them out in the next while, and we'll sort of. And I've probably got some of her recordings as well because her name was familiar, and I didn't realise, but she was born in Sydney, Australia.
I know, I had heard that. I'd forgotten.
Australian connection. How about that?
Yes.
And she had a very long life, and she was married to Jacques Hubert for over 60 years.
Yes.
That's remarkable, and and an amazing life as a comedian. Made lots of records and was that's terrific. Oh, thank you. I like her freshness and
Yes, she's very bright, and
yeah, she is. It's really compelling. I was drawn in, and that first track. I mean, that's really clever stuff. You're right. It's amazing.
Not everyone could do that.
No, and it's all that comic timing. It was just incredible.
I know.
Yeah, thank you. That was really, really good. I'm thrilled. I've learnt something. This is what this is about. We're learning on the fly here.
Laughing Gas is the other big one.
Oh, Laughing Gas. I'm going to play it. I want to hear more. If I can, if it's here, Sicily. It's not Cecily. It's Sicily.
Sicily, yes.
Cicely Courtnidge and Laughing Gas. If I can find it. I've got a shelf of English records which I've never really explored. It came from a collection, and there's lots of this sort of material. And I feel encouraged now. I think I know where they are.
Yep.
They're in a corner somewhere, and I'm going to drag them out and discover them.
Some of it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I do. I like it. Here we go.
Of its time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is of its time, but it's just. It's great to hear, and they're very skilled stage performers, and you really get a sense of their delivery and the full flavour of their personalities. Here we go, Laughing Gas, some more, Cicely Courtnidge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here, you the butler?
I am.
With Jacques
What
Hubert.
with this?
What is it?
It's marked Dr. Arley, fragile with care. Nitrous oxide.
Oh, yes, that's laughing gas.
Laughing gas?
Yes, they gives you a whiff of that and you don't feel any more agony until you comes to.
Oh, well, where'll I put it?
Oh, put it anywhere for now. On that pedestal over there.
Oh, all right. Here, I say.
Yes?
I suppose it'll be safe there.
Yes.
Nice how'd you do if you got knocked over, you know.
Yes, that's all right there.
Well, so long, sunshine. Don't say I didn't warn you, though.
Here, push off, will you? They're all coming in now to read the will.
Good morning, James. Is this the table?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'm ready to read the will the moment they all arrive.
Yes, sir.
You will bring the ladies and gentlemen here.
Very good, sir.
Now then, Ramona, come along,
That will be the widow.
Come along, Ramona. Good morning, Mr. Friedel. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, Ramona, I will trouble you to weep a little when they are reading your father's will. He was a good father to you, he was, when he was not a Brighton.
Yes, Mum. Ooh, what's this here?
Which ear?
That there.
That there? You mean that over there? I don't know anyway.
It says nitrous oxide, and it's got in brackets laughing gas. Ooh,
What do you mean,
That is your uncle's, Dr. Harley's, you know. I wouldn't touch it if I were you.
No, Mr. Friedel.
And another thing, Ramona. Now that your father has gone to heaven, you will no longer say this here or that there. You will copy your mother instead of your dad.
All right, Mum.
Now run along like a good little girl. Mummy wants to talk to Uncle Friedel. You brought the will.
I have it here.
Ah, I'm sure James has done the right thing. He was not a good husband, but we understood one another. And now that he has gone, 20 chorus ladies have gone back into circulation.
Strange he should have deceived us all. I always thought he was so open in every way, so frank and earnest.
He was frank in Paris and earnest in London, but he was not a good man.
He certainly was not.
Ah, but I knew how to manage him. You see that ring?
Yes.
You know what that cost?
No.
One kiss.
You gave him?
No, he gave the maid.
Miss Bedlington.
James's sister. How I know that woman. Ah, darling.
Good morning, Agatha.
How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm glad somebody thinks so.
Haven't you pulled yourself together yet?
Pull myself together.
Why not? You didn't love each other.
Emilia?
Well, I'm single, thank the Lord. No one wants to kiss me under the mistletoe.
Nobody would want to kiss you under an anesthetic.
Mr. Mitchum.
Oh, I trust I'm not late.
Not at all. Will you be seated?
Ramona?
Half a tick, Mum.
Leave that laughing gas alone.
All right, Mum.
Continue, Mr. Breedle.
Dr. Harley, the deceased's brother.
Ramona, leave that tap alone.
All right, Mum.
As I was saying, the deceased's brother, who has so kindly loaned our poor friend this house,
I nearly got it on.
is unable to be present.
Oh, I've done it. I've done it.
As I was saying, he is unable to be present.
Ramona, be quiet. This is no place for laughing.
Sorry, Mum.
Sit down at once. Really? Continue, Mr. Breedle. Will you please go on?
I will now read the will, and I ask you all to remember that we are here today and gone tomorrow.
You were saying, Mr. Breedle...
This is the last will and testament of James Endicott Dowlick.
Gowlick. What a name.
Ramona! Shh! Mr. Breedle, go on.
To my dear friend Ernest Mitchum, I bequeath the sum of £1,000.
1,000? He promised me 5. That's extraordinary. Most extraordinary.
He said he promised you £5,000. And you've only got one.
Yes.
Oh, very funny.
Stick it, Freedy.
Really, I must protest.
I quite agree. I quite agree. Go on.
To my solicitor, Robert Friedel, I bequeath my best wishes.
Really, I must protest. Such behavior under such circumstances. I must remind you, you are reading my husband's will. Oh, go on.
To my dear wife Agatha.
Oh, this will be good, boys.
To my dear wife Agatha, who promised to make my life one long heaven. but who mistook the direction.
Really, I do not think that is funny.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad to hear you're sorry. Continue.
To my dear wife Agatha, I bequeath. Oh dear, I couldn't possibly read any more.
What do you mean you couldn't possibly read any more? Give me the will. Sitting there laughing. No laughing matter. To my dear wife Agatha, I bequeath my income tax demands amounting to £2,000, 19 and fourpence.
Oh, Frank, that's absolute gold. Laughing Gas with Cecily Courtnidge and Jack Hubert. And, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
In the 30s, I guess.
Yes, I think so. The way it should be. Oh, how about that? Yeah, look, really good to hear. And I can also refer people to, there is a film of Jack Hubert and Cecily Courtnidge in later years, but unfortunately it's silent. It's a Pathé newsreel from the 1970s, but the soundtrack's missing from it.
What a shame.
Yeah, and but they're affectionate couple. They're an old couple. They're both in their 70s or 80s here, and they're being interviewed, and there's some great close-ups, and they're warmly disposed. It's quite beautiful.
Wonderful.
So yeah, it's worth looking up there. It's just look up Jack Hubert and Cecily Courtnidge, 1970 to 1979. That's what it says there. That during that period, that's when the video was made. So yeah, that was great. Well, look, that reminded me. That laughing track reminded me that in the part of 78s that I got out for this afternoon's missions, there was a Charles Penrose record there. He was another English comedian, sort of a bit earlier. Oh, no, not. He's probably around about the same time, but he made lots of records in the 20s, laughing records, sort of morale boosting. He did The Laughing Policeman, and there's a whole stack of them. And this is one, and that's one I haven't heard before. It's called The Village Laughsmith is the name of the record.
Okay.
So I reckon we'll give it a go. It could be very corny. Some of his records were really corny, but we can live with that.
That's all right.
And just following on from our laugh fest with Cecily and Jack, we'll hear now Charles Penrose.
You all know the village blacksmith and where his smithy stands, under the spreading chestnut tree and about his sinewy hands. Well, I'm the village laughsmith, and I've learnt the motor trade. For the village smith is out of date, I'm very much afraid. So I mess about with motors, and the prices that I charge has made my village smithy an up-to-date garage. You can hear me bellows roar. And half and more. The music of my anvil rings, you hear it from afar, and then you hear my merry laugh. For the day is done at a nightclub where we go. The village choir and band of hope we found were much too slow. There's pep and ginger in the tunes played by our new jazz band. We dance the foxtrot Charleston too, the girls are simply grand. Now the village smith is disappeared, the smith has gone away. Very soon upon the village green we'll build a cabaret. I've RAC awards for joke on Henry Ford. In harmony my anvil rings when mending some old car, and then you hear my merry laugh.
Charles Penrose back in the late, probably about 1928. And yes, his records always invigorate. He was a jolly fellow, very much in the English tradition. So yeah, that was a really good space. Thanks for that, Frank. Thank you for the Cecily Courtnidge suggestion. That was really got us on the roll there.
Not at all. I had a friend who joined a club called a laughing club.
Oh, really? It's sort of a form of primal therapy, I think.
That's what I'm about to tell you, yes.
Yes.
He was chronically depressed.
Yes.
And he said it helped him greatly.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Yeah. So you just sort of, I suppose you force yourself to do it
You
first.
kind of force yourself, but then he said there's a momentum that takes over in a group.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Isn't that interesting?
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating, because it's probably like a reflex, and if you do it from that side, it might help the whole disposition.
Certainly helped. He was an old school friend.
Right.
He became an Olympic runner, actually.
Yes. It reminds me a little bit of Rachmaninoff's sessions with Dahl, the great psychotherapist. I can't remember Dahl's first name, but Rachmaninoff fell into a deep depression after writing his second symphony, I think, and he went and took all the parts off the stands and burnt them and destroyed the work, and just completely couldn't write anything else. He was paralysed, and then he went and saw this gentleman, Mr. Dahl, and this psychotherapist was known for telling the patients to look into the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror and say, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Yeah.
And he did this 100 times a day or something, or so many times a day over a period, and he sort of brainwashed himself.
Wow.
So I suppose it's sort of the same thing in a way. It's interesting.
It's very similar, I think.
Yeah.
It's mood raising, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is, and it is. It's just by default, by using some sort of trigger. It
sounds silly a bit, but it actually works.
Yes, isn't it just interesting? I know in Rachmaninoff's case it was so successful that he devoted as soon as he broke from the depression, he in earnest wrote the very famous Second Piano Concerto.
Oh, lovely.
Which is the work we saw most people associate
Most
with.
remember it for, yeah.
It's just a marvellous piece.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And he dedicated the work to his psychotherapist, to Mr. Dahl. It's on the page. Isn't that great?
I remember hearing that for the first time in concert at a Zellman orchestra concert.
Oh, did you really? That would have been fun.
It was a lot of fun. I was going with this lovely lady who was writing for a magazine for Arts Hub, it was called.
Okay.
And she got a free ticket, and she was a single person.
Sure.
And she very kindly invited me to come with her, and I did, and it was a lovely occasion.
Oh, tremendous. Oh, that's great. It's
only about 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's lovely. It's a powerful work, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Oh, it certainly is.
And that middle movement's just got such soaring melodies. Oh, I love it. We haven't had a lot of Rachmaninoff on these missions. Well, I need to play. Some. Dig some of the recordings up. I've got him playing most of his piano concertos here, and so we'll find them and put them on. Yeah, but I've got queued up something I want to hear. It was just in the box. It goes back to about 1912. It's a pretty early, it's pre-First World War. It's a Zonophone disc and a twin label. It's one of those very heavy platter early 78s.
Yep.
And it's Gems from the Geisha, which was a musical that was really big in London in the 1890s. In fact, I think around about the same time as the Mikado, and it picked up on that sort of Oriental fascination. So it's sort of similar in some respects, but it was written by Sidney Jones, and the libretto was Owen Hall, it says here. And anyhow, it just was very, very successful, and it toured, and it came to Australia. It was sort of... It was one of the big musicals of the 1890s. So this record is Gems from the Geisha. And I just thought it would be interesting. I think the main song was The Amorous Goldfish, which I think I've heard before. But look, it'll just be some sort of late Victorian, early Edwardian, material, kitsch perhaps, but and it's not the same quality as GNS, of course, but it was big, and I didn't realise that it ran for over a decade, and was very well regarded in its time. So as a bit of a timestamp experience, we'll just hear this one side of an old Zonophone 78, and I think it's ready to go. All I have to do is kickstart things, and we'll have a listen. I'm vk3sl.
vk3jr.
Takes the boy from work, takes the boy from play, gets the lad
have the Zono Operatic Company there, way back in the day, an early recording.
That's good.
Yeah, good tunes. And it was for the Geisha, and it's subtitled A Story of a Tea House.
Yeah.
And premiered in 1896, and says here ran for 760 performances. Staggering. That's a big innings. So it's interesting. I mean, we sort of forget all these other. We remember GNS and the ones that sort of endured the generations, but there was so many other productions that had their success, and then just fell into obscurity, which probably for good reason, because we can't have everything there at the same time. But at the same time, it's also good to sort of to touch base with some of these other recordings or other performances from that time. Yeah, well, another one. I've got a talk on adventure, this time by Walford Davies, the musicologist. We heard one of his records last week.
Oh, yeah.
And he's accompanied by Marjorie Haywood on the violin, and he'll give us a chat today about adventure in music. I look forward to this one. This will be really good. And he just speaks very quietly, so I'll do what I can to sort of get the levels, make them perceptible. But this is a laminated pressing, and they're the ones that sort of I can retrieve more from. So let's have a listen to Mr. Walford Davies. He's a musicologist, a conductor, composer, and he has a very affectionate way of telling his story. So yeah, on adventure. And sorry, folks, we'll try again.
Of course, think first of its adventure. Every melody must venture upon its first thought. Think of the splendid first thought of the Marseillaise. Or the vigorous Rule Britannia. Or the light-hearted Come Lasses and Lads. Or of the first thought of Beethoven's first piano sonata. Now in melody I think it is always a case of nothing venture, nothing have, and as all melodic ventures are for love, remember that yours should start along a way that you really love. It may leap, or it may go step by step. It may be quiet in its rising and falling like the Londonderry air. Again, it may be quite jumpy and rugged like this. Then in its rhythm, it may be sprightly as Handel is in this movement. Very quiet as he is later on in that movement, much like a lullaby. But whatever one's first adventure may be, it should always have its very own character, as true to your own meaning as ever you can make it. Never be afraid to alter a note here and there when you write your tune. Alter the notes till you get them right. It was no doubt Beethoven's determination to get his melody absolutely true to his first meaning that made him alter and rewrite so much. We are told that he made no less than 21 forms of one simple tune before he could let it stand. I suppose that means that his mind was not equal to his inspiration. The notes he found would not satisfy his imagination, so his mind and hand, like good servants, had to hunt until they found. We should hunt and find in our small melodies. Now I suggested your adventure should always go by a way that you love. Suppose it is only a little musical walk up and down stairs. It may be lovely and worthwhile. Or another day you may like to leap upstairs and run down. Or you may hop down. Or you may leap higher still and race down. Or for that matter, you may slide down the banisters. Write what you like, and like what you write. If you do not, it will not be your melody at all. By the way, never be afraid to love and write down that which other people have loved before you. Haydn loved this little adventure. What a lovely phrase it is. Long afterwards, it is not surprising that Beethoven took it, made it his own, and gave us a beautiful movement upon it. Some wise man has said, mimicry is the cradle of art. You will not always be in the cradle of melody. When you come of age melodically, you may chance to discover a brand new melody. But it will still have been well cradled if you have made the old melodies your very own.
I'll just turn the record over.
two very important things in the adventure of melody making are the rise and fall of the phrases and their rhythms. You're a melodist. Imagine that your mind is poised on a single tone. Now 5 things may happen. You may dwell on that tone, or you may rise by step, or you may rise by leap, you may fall by step, or fall by leap. Now it is safe to think of the qualities we commonly call grace and strength as 2 qualities we most look for in melody. I rather think it is also fairly safe to associate melody that rises or falls by step with the quality of grace and gradualness, and melody which favours leaping suggests strength. There are many ways of blending the 2 qualities refreshingly. Listen to old Morley setting Shakespeare's "It was a lover and his lass." This has the gentle grace of step-by-step movement, yet being built on common chords, it has a sturdy quality too. Melody that moves in chords seems to combine smoothness of thought with strength of purpose. When a phrase attains strength to take a flying leap, the easiest leaps are those that lie well within man's thoughts, like the octave or the fifth. And when a big leap is taken, a musical bylaw suggests that it is well to return within the leap rather than to go beyond it. That latter is sprawly, though strong. Let us now note 3 other good ways of combining grace with strength by the use of grace notes, passing notes, and changing notes. Take this strong passage from a well-known tune. Now add grace notes. Or add passing notes. Or add the ancient changing note. Or add a mingling of all 3. And it is easy to see how the total rise and fall of a man's melody will inevitably convey his character. Melodic utterance, plain or florid, exuberant or reticent, can be as true and subtle an index of a man's mind as any sincere utterance, for example in words. Now a word or 2 as to the rhythm of melodic adventure. It is clear that music depicts 2 kinds of rhythm. They may be called rhythm of action, as in marches or dances, and rhythm of thought, as in a slow movement of a sonata. The rhythm of a blacksmith's hammer is clearly a rhythm of action of the body. The rhythm of a Beethoven melody, as he dwells for love on one note and speeds through others, is as clearly the rhythm of his mind at the moment. Of rhythms of action there seem to be 2 well-marked kinds. We may call them for convenience figure rhythm and travelling rhythm. Here is a famous figure rhythm. Here is a still more famous travelling rhythm. For examples of the endless possibilities in the other kind of rhythm, the rhythm of the mind dwelling imaginatively on this and that tone, Miss Hayward and I are making 2 supplementary records, one of Handel's Largo from Berenice and the other the slow movement of Beethoven's 10th Violin Sonata.
Well, there we go. That was Walford Davies, and really quite a poetic sort of reflection on musical adventure.
I get a lot out of those.
I do too. I love his use of words, his use of language. It's from another time, and it's just so beautifully eloquent. It's just it's talking about grace and strength and smoothness of thought and greatness of purpose, all sort of stuff.
They're very real insights, though, aren't they?
They are, really, they are. And beautifully demonstrated there in that travelling rhythm in that last one with the Ode to Joy. Oh, it was just beautifully illustrative, musically compelling, and it just relates so closely to language and the way we use poetic terminology, I think, and things.
Yeah. Are there any more?
Yeah, well, there's a stack. There's, I think, there's 10 records in the series. I'll just keep playing one each week.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll keep going through them. Some of them are not on laminated pressings, which means that you'll get the frying pan noise, which I can't do much about, and they're quite hard to hear.
Okay.
But look, we'll persevere. We'll see how we go. Yes, they're here, and I'll keep them aside because I'd like to follow on and play more of them.
Yeah, definitely.
They're really worth hearing. And I have put them all up on YouTube. I've got the whole lot up. And I did that a few years ago and because I just thought it was really important to bring them into the public domain.
Yeah.
Apparently they had a booklet that went with them, but I've never seen that. But I've got 2 sets and 2 incomplete sets. And I think between the 2, there's more or less a complete set. So, yes, it's a nice thing to have. Yeah, well, look, I won't go very late tonight, but I'll just play a couple of other quick things.
Sure.
One is another anthology type thing. It's Instruments of the Orchestra with Malcolm Sargent, and I think this is the one he made in 1941. And
He was an interesting man.
Yes, Jack Flash, wasn't he? Don't know how he got that name.
Say no more.
Yes, my cello professor Henry Tuzo had quite a bit to do with him, and he had some stories, but they're not really repeatable on air.
No.
But anyhow, Mr. Sargent,
I heard one. That I could probably tell.
Oh yes.
He was. Well, we get rid of him.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yep, no worries. Yes.
He was rehearsing an opera with a tenor who had to become prone on the ground and sing his last dying opera.
Yes.
And he did this, and Malcolm said, well, that wasn't a very inspiring effort. And he said, the tenor said, well, I find it very difficult to give my best performances on lying on the ground. And he says, Malcolm said, I've given some of my very best performances in that very position.
That gets the Ruth Wallace stamp of approval, that story does. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I love it. Yeah, there we go. Malcolm Sargent. Well, that's set. Those sort of witticisms go down the Beecham. Beecham was sort of akin to that sort of thing.
Very much so.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing. Well, this is Instruments of the Orchestra. I've picked out the strings, and it's we've got selections. Violin by Jean Pugnet, P-O-U-G-N-E-T, Pugnet, and the violas. I think there's 1 or 2 that doesn't tell us what they play, but they're all delightful. And 2 viola selections, I think, with Lionel Tertis playing the viola. Beautiful viola player. He was a very short man, Lionel Tertis. He was only about 5 feet tall, and he played a 16 or 17-inch viola.
Ooh.
He played this enormous viola. They're called Tertis violas. They're like cellos.
Good heavens.
And he stuck the thing under his chin and he's reached out and he had these sort of monkey arms and he was able to complete miracles. He had a walrus moustache and he's a very dignified Englishman, and but about very short with his long arms and this huge viola. It's the story of Lionel Tertis.
Quite a dash.
Yeah, and he was born on the same year as Casals and he died in the same year as Casals.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, he's born in 1876 and died in 1973, I think. So
long life.
Yes, indeed. So on side 2 is 2 tracks on the cello played by Anthony Pini, And Carl Penny was his son, and I knew him well because he was one of our lecturers at uni.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think Carl's with us anymore, but his dad, Anthony Penny's on this disc, and he was a fabulous cellist. Did a wonderful Elgar concerto. Anthony Penny's Elgar is up there amongst the best.
Wow.
Very restrained, but just such a focused sound. It's wonderful.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I do. It's on a 10-inch LP. I'll play it one night.
Yes.
It's really worth listening to. It's almost diametrically opposite to Jacqueline Dupre's performance.
Yeah.
It's completely different. But very, very interesting to hear. And we have Mr. Merritt, James Merritt, playing the double bass. And we also have a Celesta by Hubert Greenslade.
Right.
So two sides of a 12-inch record. I think it was recorded about 1941. It was during the war. And but look, a nice selection, instruments of the orchestra and featuring the strings. So we'll have to flip the disc halfway through. But I think we are right to start. and the Celeste at the end, and a little potpourri of string examples, recordings made in about 1941 under the direction of Malcolm Sargent.
Yeah, very nice.
It's a great series. I've also put that one up on YouTube some time ago, and it features all the instruments of the orchestra. And yeah, it's good. I think he did it twice. I think he did it in the 20s too, but I've never seen the earlier version of it. It'd be good to look them up. I'm sure someone else has put that up. But
picked good tunes for them to play, didn't he?
Yeah, really good examples, excellent examples. No, that's very compelling. So, yep, that's all good. Just heard from Mr. Fleming. Mr. Fleming's done some really good research. I'm sort of blown out of the water, actually, because I just haven't had a chance to... I never get a chance to do anything, really, of this kind. And he's looked into Andre Schuster, the double bass player, on that record we played this afternoon. I played a recording featuring a small ensemble led by Mr. Schuster, playing exotic music. It was a Planet record under Marcus Herman's direction, or King Crawford's direction.
He was Hungarian, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And but John's done some great research, and we've got a biographical snip from Facebook with all sorts of information about him and what he did in Melbourne. Very involved in the sort of cabaret scene and nightclub scene, and yeah, I haven't got it in front of me, but it was really, really interesting. And now he's just come up with some more information from actually a review of the record we just played this afternoon. So that's fantastic. I look forward to reading all of that, John. That's really good. Yeah, so there we go. I might see if I can find something of him to play, to write out, actually. But before doing that, was one record I want to play before I pack up today, and that is a recording of the music of Chabrier. And this has been sitting in the box just waiting to be played. It's a part of an incomplete set that I've got made for Decca. And it features Martineau with the London Phil. It's a recording made after the war, but it's a delightful work. The suite Pastoral, and it's just one movement from that suite. It's a Danse Villageoise, and it's just delightful French music, romantic music from the late 19th century, played by an English orchestra, and I think it's worth a play. So while I'm playing this, I'll see if I can dig up a recording of Andre Schuster to wind up the program with. So I think we're right to go. So yeah, vk3sl testing.
vk3sl.
All right. Here we go. Decca Bound. Chabrier, and he's done Sweet Pastoral, and that was the Dance of Joie.
Lovely.
Yeah, beautiful work. Yeah.
Sounds very Revelian to me.
Yeah, like early Ravel.
Early Ravel, yeah.
Yes, very sort of spacious. And,
That's it. Nice harmony. It's a shame he doesn't get. I don't hear very much Chabrier. Everyone plays that España thing.
Yeah, they do. They do all the time. That's all you hear.
It's a bit like Ravel with his bolero.
I know. That's right. It becomes a one-trick pony situation. Yeah. Yes, and there's so much other music. That's what I thought too. I thought, oh, here's a different work, and I sampled it earlier, and I thought, how lovely is this? And it's a pity I've only got one of the 4 records in the set or whatever it is, but it's still something. And nice to sample.
Very nice.
It is indeed. So look, we'll wind up. I was going to do a bit of a homage to Astrid Gilberto because she died a few weeks ago.
Did.
But I think we'll devote an afternoon missions to her and play a whole lot and just sort of do it properly.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah, so
she deserves that.
Yeah, I think so. And so we'll follow on with more of her output and just maybe do a bit of a chronology. And did you have anything specific that you'd like to play tonight? I saw I sort of got carried away with the playlist, but
no, I certainly didn't. Yeah. I'm not thinking it my best at the moment.
No, that's fine. No, I didn't want you to have something lined up, and I was ignoring you.
I didn't do anything like that.
That's fine. All right, look, we can
wind. There is something though that we could look at in the future.
Yes, please.
This is. I don't think we've done it. It's to do with the modern jazz quartet.
Yes.
And it's something that John Lewis, their leader, introduced. It's called Third Stream.
Ah, Third Stream as a movement.
As a movement, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Have we done that on it?
I think we did a program on Third Stream a while ago, a long time ago. I think it was during COVID. But I'd be more than happy to return to it. And because, to be honest, I've really would need re-education.
Well, I would too. I don't think it's anything terribly marvellous, but it's interesting.
It is, yes. It sort of involves it's sort of fusion elements, isn't it?
It does. That's right.
Now, I'd be keen to follow. No,
it was experimental.
Yeah. I'd like to hear some, and we can definitely put that. I've just written it down on the pad here, so we can come back to that for sure. And I'll put down Astrid Gilberto as well because
there's Buxtehude to do it.
Oh yeah, Books, Mr. Books. Yeah,
Mr.
Yes, Buxtehude and Astrid Gilberto. These are topics. All right, I'll put boxes around them. They're here on the pad to explore in earnest when we get back into regular programs. So to wind up today, I'd just like to honour the playing of Andre Schuster, and he's on this record on this rather unusual spotlight disc with Jizzy Royko. Now, Jizzy Royko was a subject of great interest earlier on before the COVID kicked in because this record sort of emerged and we were looking into her life story, and she's this wonderful gypsy fiddle player who had this distinguished career in Europe, did all sorts of amazing things and came out as a refugee, and there's a number of newspaper articles and then she just vanished. She just disappeared off the face of the earth probably around in the early 50s, and there's no mention of her anywhere. But I think we established that her daughter may be still alive, maybe. But we didn't follow up with that story. So I'd like to, that's something I've got to do. I've got to write to her at least and see if there is more to be revealed. But this is the one record she made. And in this instance, she is playing with Andre Schuster on the bass and a complement of Eastern European musicians that she may have known when she was over there. So this is a really interesting record, with that particular flavour. And directed by William Flynn, who's sort of overseeing the whole thing. And they're just playing all this exotic Hungarian music. And she just plays superbly. So we'll hear Jizzy Royko on the violin and Andre Schuster on the bass and about 6 other musicians. And I'll just play 2 tracks. But I won't back announce. I'll let this ride. And we'll be back next week. Probably next week. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Frank.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, we'll do. I'm looking forward to just having lots of time to just sit down and read and not be distracted and just quiet time, settled time, and do some walks.
Sounds wonderful.
We're planning to do a bushwalk together, so that's something I need to do. So, yes. Right, I think we're queued. Excuse me, just padding here because I'm still a little bit behind the 8 ball with systems, but I think we're right to go. So, yeah, GZ Royco to finish today. Thanks, listeners. Appreciate your indulgence.
Always.
Yes, and always to you, Frank. And I hope you're feeling a lot better, and I hope your toothache is completely recovers, and you,
Yeah, I'm going to be fine.
You'll be fine. All right. Well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
All right.
VK3JR clear.
And vk3sl also going QRT until next time.